Imamo Jon Armstronga tu. Jon, I'm really pleased to have you today. We were supposed to meet at the test site, and you canceled because of the poor weather we have. You had snow on the stage, which is not good preparation for rally in Croatia, because we expect much warmer weather. But if it snows, then you missed your chance.
Yeah, this is true. It seems like this season the crazy weather is following us around a little bit, because we had proper snow in Monte. In Kenya we had lots of rain. Sweden was not enough snow maybe. So yeah, it looks quite demanding. Maybe some of the stages like Platek will have some snow. It seems like this stage always has something at the side. So yeah, it's not the best when you don't have the tires for this, but it's quite interesting. And I also tested on Tuesday on proper Croatian style road with all the cuts with the gravel and the mud and all the crests and jumps. So that was really, really nice, and one of the best feelings I could have in this Rally1 car.
Yeah, I saw some footage from that test day. You can tell just by the video that you enjoyed that kind of conditions. Regarding tests, I always see the tests are not equal representative of what the stages offer. How do you compensate that difference between stages and the test days?
Yeah, it's a bit difficult because it depends a lot on the rally. If in Rally Croatia, for example, some of the stages are very different from each other, so it makes it quite difficult to set up the car. And I guess you try to pick a test road, test stage that has a little bit of everything in terms of character. And yeah, this can be the tricky part then, how you translate what you do with the car setup to then go into the rally. But the main thing is that you find something that's quite close, and then on the rally you can make a little bit of change here and there to fine tune. But yeah, it's not so easy sometimes. But okay, it's dirty tarmac and slippery, which is what we wanted from the test here. But in this year, Rally Croatia has some more race style stages, like we have in Canaries or in Italy. It looks a lot like Italy, some of the ones down towards the coast.
Yes.
So this will be quite different than what we had in previous editions.
You only had 3 races so far in WRC car. Can you tell me what is the biggest or the toughest challenge you had when you got behind the wheel of this kind of car? You have lots of experience in different classes. You rise up from the smallest classes up to the biggest one. But there are drivers who came to WRC and never got to manage to get with the aerodynamic downforce or the power. Or what is your biggest challenge in that kind of car?
Yeah, the power is not so crazy, because in the Rally1 we have 380 horsepower. In the Rally2, which is what I drove last year, was around 290, 300. So yeah, you have 80 more horsepower, but it doesn't feel like it's such a big step than before. Okay, some places it's a lot faster how you get to the corner, and then it's maybe more difficult for the co-driver and for me, the amount of information that you put in the pace notes. If you put too much, 5 words on every corner, then my co-driver would be struggling to keep up. So this is one thing that's difficult. Okay, as you say, the aerodynamics is a little bit tricky, but for me it's more easy to understand than I thought. The faster you go, the more the car is pushed into the ground, and the more it's pushed into the ground, the more the tire is getting grip. So yeah, this didn't feel so hard to understand, but it felt different than what I was expecting, the feeling from the aerodynamics. But it's maybe something not so, this year for sure it's important, but next year we will change to have less aerodynamic capabilities of the car. So we will go a step back in this side of things. But I think for sure it's where you can maybe find, you know, the 3/10 a kilometer is the more and more you get used to this sort of thing, to understand what the car can do and be absolutely on the limit of everything.
How far or how near are you the limit of the car?
This is always difficult to know, because it's only 3 rallies, like you say, that I've done. So I'm still learning, and I think it takes a little bit for me, but every driver is different. Some people are very fast learners. For me, I'm quite a fast learner, but then to really stretch the pace maybe takes 4 or 5 events. But we've had some good pace already, some good stage times. But as a overall like average, for sure we can improve, and I think that there's more to get from the car. I think there's always more we can get from ourselves than finding some massive like changes with the car as well. So we need to just focus on getting faster and keep learning.
Yeah, I think that you have pretty good results, much better than your previous colleagues in your team, and you're learning faster than other drivers. And I think you have a bright future if nothing else happens, or something complicates, and you never know what future comes. But how different is for you when you started your career and in the middle of career, when you had same conditions as a professional driver? Let's say when you have racing engineers and you have lots of people taking care of the car, they give you, they are these, how to adjust the car, how to make suspension better, or what, maybe you have some things that you don't even understand how to do it, but you just want, let the car do this stuff, you can do it. How do you explain to these people, or what is the feeling when you have all these people helping you with your career result?
Yeah, it's a team sport for sure. Okay, when you see us on the television, it's me and my co-driver in the car. But during the event, we have 30 people more, or maybe even more, that are working in the service park. The mechanics, the engineers, coordinators. Everyone is so many different jobs that we need to make the best result. And yeah, it obviously at this level you need to be using as much as possible the support around you, and you need like almost one person for every job to make it more streamlined and more easy, and really find the steps in performance. But for sure, it's difficult sometimes to make the decisions with like the strategy and what tires that you should take and the car setup. So these are the types of things that we have from the team, the engineers, that if you ask them, okay, this stage is very slippery in the middle, should I use different tires? Should I change something on the setup? It means that you always have really great advice to have the best performance, because in one stage the condition can change. You could be dry on this previous stage, and then you go to the next stage and it could rain, and then you're like, oh, okay, what should I do that the car will still work? Because you have like a dry setup, but then the dry setup might be okay in the wet, but you have to be very careful. So then if you can change something with the dampers, with the suspension, the roll bars, then if the engineer tells you what to do and you agree, yeah, I remember this worked previous, thanks for telling me, and then you do it. So then you have a higher performance on the stage where something changes. So it's being reactive and always knowing what's the right thing to do at every step. And this is where the team helps a lot.
This is your first proper tarmac rally coming in Croatia. Do you have some expectations from this race? What do you expect?
It's a bit difficult actually, because I won this rally last year in the ERC, which was quite nice. So yeah, I'm the last winner, but the level is different with the WRC. The drivers are faster, the cars are faster. There's some different things, but for sure on paper it looks like a rally that we can do something quite good with the results. So we should aim to put in as much effort as we can with the preparation, with having a good recce where we drive the stages before the rally starts and make our pace notes. And if you can have good work here, make good pace notes and have good confidence, then this will go into the rally. That then when you go on the stage in the rally, you're like, okay, I can push. And yeah, we just need to take it step by step. And I hope we can get some good stage times, but also a good result. Like maybe somewhere in the top 5 can be possible if we do a good race, which you know, that's up to me and the co-driver and the team to really do the best that we can do.
Yes. Do you feel advantaged when there are new stages that nobody have driven these stages before your other competitors? Do you feel much more confident in that situations?
For sure, I like the challenge of driving a stage with the first time with new set of pace notes. It's all about the romantic side of rally, that you go and you drive flat out to the instructions that you have. So it's all about commitment, all about the trust in you, the car, and the co-driver, that you get into a good rhythm. So for me, it's not a problem. The more smooth, wide stages, probably not as good as what the bumpy and narrow ones are for me. So I prefer those ones in Croatia, where it's quite like with all the corner cuts and you have the gravel, and I quite like that style of stage. So it will be interesting to see what pace we can do on the more smooth and flowing stages as well.
Do you think that on these new stages, that on the start of the stage, you think you have equal conditions like the other drivers? So you can say, this is my chance to show that I have much better pace than the stages where your competitors used to drive a few times. They have more experience there. Do you think that it's much easier for you to show your pace in that stages?
Yeah, I think it's easier because, okay, the other drivers are very good at doing stages for the first time also, but it gives you more opportunity where maybe they don't fully push, and then if you really push first time, then you can make some big advantage on certain sections that are more tricky, let's say, when you get there for the first time. So it's like you take a little bit more risk and maybe you will gain time. So yeah, I think it can be quite good for me to go to some of the new stages and push, because there's some new stages on Friday and also Saturday that should suit us, I think.
You mentioned that you don't like so much these smooth, wide corners or stages. Why is that?
I don't know, because in Ireland we grow up with more bumpy style roads, so I'm more used to this way, and sometimes the more twisty wide roads, it's a little bit more like the race style. Yes, yes. With the driving style, and you need to manage a bit the temperature of the brakes and the tires, that you don't push so much. So it's a little bit different style, that you kind of hold a little bit back so that you look after the package of the car and the tires, so that when you come from the middle to the end of the stage, that you still have some performance. Because it's easy to push really fast at the start, but then you get halfway and then you start to have the tires overheat, you maybe get some understeer, you can't go so fast through the corners anymore. So it's like you need to be actually a little bit slower at the start and try to maintain a good rhythm. I like it when it goes well, But I think getting to the point where it feels good for me on those roads is sometimes I feel like, yeah, I need to do something different, or we need to change something with the setup of the car. But that's something, again, like you say, with a team, you need the support from them to make the correct decisions with tire choice and setup.
Yeah. Are you working on this different kind of style of driving, this for wider and smoother stages,
Yeah,
outside of the rallying?
a little bit. Depends on the rally, but yeah, sometimes you might go go-karting, which can be quite good for having a bit more smooth style. And also in go-karting, it's very important not to over push or slide too much. So that can always be a good step. Also on the simulator, you can do quite a lot with different games, whether that's circuit racing, where you can really manage the tires, or a more, let's say, racetrack style rally stage. So yeah, there's some things that you can do to prepare for sure. And okay, it's always a bit different when you go to these stages with the rally car compared to some of the ways that you prepare. But yeah, we were supposed to do the test today, but which is more like sort of racetrack style on this road. But yeah, as you say, we had some snow.
Yeah. Regarding simulator, you were a world champion not so long ago. I mean, you're still a young guy, and have you talked to your engineers maybe they can install restart button on your steering wheel, so when you make a mistake, you can say, let's do it again. I can do it much better.
Yeah, it would be nice someday if we could get get this button. But yeah, I've always enjoyed to drive on the simulator. So right from being a young boy at five years old, I was playing like Colin McRae Rally on the PlayStation just with the joystick. But then when I was like 10 years old, it was more serious with Richard Burns Rally and these sorts of games, which are a bit more on the simulation side. So I had the steering wheel and these things. Then I started more and more with the real rally driving. So I was competing in rally sprints in Ireland, and then starting my real driving at 17 on like the British Championship. But then one season, 2018 was the year that I won, and I decided this year I was struggling to get the budget and the finances for real life rallying, so I decided I want to still do something to be, let's say, working the brain and to feel competition. So I decided to do some esports, and the WRC esports seemed like the best thing because it's rally driving. I always enjoy these style of games, and I was always quite competitive in terms of like the stage time. So I could see from the start that I'm not so far away from the guys who compete in the finals. So then I just committed the year to this, and at the end we went to I managed to go to the final because I had done the full season and qualified. And then on the day I was really focused and managed to come out on top, which was really, really cool. And yeah, it was like a big passion to try and be a champion, and to be a champion in anything is great, and especially World Championship for esports in the real, say the virtual side of the real sport I love is great.
Yeah, but that kind of move opened you a lot of other doors, which you accepted. I mean, you could stop rallying at that time if you didn't commit to esports.
Yeah.
Who knows what would happen? But I expect that this helped you a lot in your future.
Yeah, it did. It helped a lot, and as you say, like I never really give up on the dream to be here right now as a Rally1 driver. I always wanted to achieve this or to keep trying until until I was like too old, and then I would stop. But this is the good thing about rally, is you're never too old until it's like mid-30s, 40s, then maybe it starts to become a bit less. But yeah, esports helped me get like more opportunities for real rallying through contacts. I worked for Codemasters for a while as a rally consultant on their video games. So this was my real job, was making rally games, and then I was doing some rally driving alongside this in the junior WRC and then European Championship. Last year I finished working with them, and then I've been now full-time rally driver for almost 1 year. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of support from your federation?
Yes, we are very lucky with Motorsport Ireland, but also the Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy is it's been set up by a businessman called John Coyne, who's also a rally driver right from a young age, and then he focused a bit more on business, and then retired I think like 10 years ago, and he has a big passion for motorsport, for Irish athletes, Irish drivers, to help support them, and eventually they come up with the idea based on how the French Federation were doing something similar at the time to help their drivers. They took that and decided to make their own to support Irish drivers and Irish co-drivers. And of course, one of the biggest barriers for motorsport is budget. So it's great that we have financial support from the academy, but also we have support for like fitness, media, and all sorts of like preparation work. So we're very lucky that we have this support to be able to achieve what we can. And for sure, I wouldn't be here right now without them. And there's so many other drivers and co-drivers that have had brilliant opportunities. And the fact that we have 2 drivers in WRC, we have 1 driver in junior WRC, we have 1 driver at ERC at the high level, we have 2 or 3 drivers on ERC3. So we have a big spread of talent that is coming through this system.
Maybe there is a little bit more pressure on you to remain top driver, so you don't gets changed by other young driver who is maybe equally as fast or whatever, you know. But I think it's demanding between you and Josh to compete. You have similar backing from federation, like Toyota is doing with their generation academy.
Yeah.
So you never for sure that you're going to compete how long and how it's going to be, whatever, let's say next year or in 2 years. You never know. So maybe it brings even more pressure. It's much easier for you to get in the Rally1 car, but is there a pressure that you maybe will not be next year because of all other young talents?
Yeah, I think there's always the potential that depending on how my season goes, that you don't fully expect if you will have the same support next year in 27. I think the good thing is the last 2 seasons in ERC we've been really progressing every step, getting better results, better speed. So then I think if I can keep showing some good steps where I'm getting faster, maybe some stage wins, some good results, then this could be what I need to continue to have the support. And for sure, it's a bit strange that me and Josh are in the same team, and obviously we compare against each other, but it's also brilliant that we have the opportunity, and that's so important that we've been given the opportunity to compete against each other, but also help each other, because we can learn some things and compare what we are doing, how our driving style is, the type of setups that we have. So it works really nicely from this side. But from a personal perspective, I want to just do the best I can do, and I've always had to fight a bit to show that I can drive well, and I will keep pushing myself until I get closer and closer to the top guys.
Are you pushing yourself until your limits or beyond your limits? How far are you pushing yourself?
It's always difficult to know because I think you have like a ceiling, but then you can get closer and closer to the top of it, and then you can push through and go to the next level. So I think you should never give up on finding ways to improve and finding ways that you can drive better with you know, the way that the style you have on tarmac or gravel, your pace notes, the strategy you have with tire choice on the rallies. Sometimes all you need to be is a bit smarter in terms of what you do during a rally to have better results. And yeah, sometimes if you push too much, you might have a mistake or something that can ruin your results. So it's being aware that actually I could push on this stage, but I might be better just to hold back, and then overall the next couple of days on a rally could go better than just pushing too much and make a mistake.
Yeah. How do you see yourself maybe in a few years, in 5 years? I mean, you dreamt your whole life to drive WRC1 kind of car, and then you got to this point. Okay, you're not in the fastest team, but you're pretty good, in a pretty good team. I mean, you're almost equal as Hyundai's.
Yeah.
Not so much close. I mean, you managed to equal sometimes from the top guys in Hyundai's. So how do you see your future? I mean, what do you expect now that you have reached this goal, WRC1 car?
I think this year is just to show that we belong to be in the top class. So keep being competitive in terms of the stage times. So try to fight with the Hyundais where we can in terms of stage results, and also maybe sometimes the Toyota. And yeah, I hope to do enough where people think I'm a good driver to support going forward, whether that's from the Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy, or if one of the other teams are interested, anything is possible. But I think I have maybe, who knows, another 8 years, maybe more, that I could drive at this level. So why not? We should aim for driving as long as we can, and yeah, that would be the main goal, is just to have like maybe a longer term contract or plan.
So how long are you sure that you will drive this car, this kind of class car?
At the moment, it's just for 1 year, and then yeah, next year is still let's say open. We don't know what will happen. So yeah, it makes it a bit difficult, because on one hand you can think, oh well, it's 1 year to get all the experience, but for me, I always want to show, yeah, I get the experience, but also it's 1 year, so I need to show what I can do. So yeah.
So it's even more pressure than some other drivers, because every race for you is calculated, and they check everything. How is your performance? How is your tire management, car management, communications within the team? So you don't have so much time. I mean, because the competition amongst drivers, other drivers who wants to be in your seat, are extremely big, especially for the next year. You know, anything can happen. So it makes even more pressure. How do you cope with that mentally?
Yeah, it's a bit tricky with the pressure. I think you need to focus on controlling what you can do, which is like, can I do more work with the preparation? You know, am I fully fit? Things like this. It's like you can always just keep focusing on the controllables, I think, is the most important. So just focus on myself, try to do the best job I can do, And at the end of the day, if you do everything you can, then that's all that matters. Because okay, maybe someone else can be faster on some rallies, but I think as long as you do the most that you can and you keep improving, then that's the most important thing. And okay, this year will be difficult to get podiums or anything, but we believe we can get there if we keep working hard. So the focus is just on every rally, see where we can keep getting faster.
Yeah, I mean, top 5 result is it's really good expectation, because there is a lot of Toyotas and Hyundai cars.
Yeah, there's quite
So
a few.
you have to be faster from at least 3 or 4 cars at each race, and it's not an easy task. How much is important to you to get the result and to get to the finish? You cannot risk everything just to get the result.
Yeah, it's important to get the miles on or kilometers on the stages, because some of the rallies are brand new for me. So I think like 7 rallies I have done before, and then the other 7, I have no experience. So it's important that I get all of the experience, because it's a experience game. You need to be quite familiar with every rally. So yeah, for sure I need to get all of the distance. And then in Monte Carlo, we had like 6th place going into the penultimate stage, which was quite a good position to be. But then we had some small mistake and broke the suspension, which was very frustrating, and for sure not the result that any of us would want. But on the other hand, we had completed all of the stages once, so from that side we still gained the experience, which was good. So yeah, it's a balance. You don't want to be at the side of the road all the time, because you damage the car, the team are going to get frustrated, you're not learning yourself as a driver. So yeah, it's important not to make too many mistakes, but I think if you try to reach some new level, then you are going to have some small mistakes here and there.
How young were you when you decided that you want to go rallying?
That's difficult, because I always had a big passion for rally, and then I followed like the local rallies in Ireland as a spectator. My dad was a mechanic, and sometimes he was mechanicking on the rally cars. So yeah, I would get quite close to the cars and smell the fuel, smell the tires, get a real sense of what it must be like to be a driver. And then we started doing some small rally sprints, more just to see if I could do anything quite good from a young age, like if I had some potential. And then it just started to snowball. But I think once I started at between like 10 to 13, maybe 13, I started driving, and then I enjoyed it so much, and then I think I had like a big passion from that point to try and reach as far as I could go in terms of World Championship.
Do you have some kind of message for kids? I mean, for young people who are thinking about racing, but they don't know how to do it. It's too hard. It's a lot of effort. I mean, you have so many obstacles to become a rally driver, And what is your message to them? I mean, you managed to succeed amongst huge amounts of obstacles you had in this journey.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, that's for sure. And I think the main thing is to surround yourself with people in your community that are already involved in the sport. So if no one in your family competes or is involved, then maybe you can go to the local motor club and get involved from this way and make some friends and contacts that can have the same passion for what you want to do. I think it's important from that side, like you can't just start to be a driver without having the culture before, which is like going to spectate events, going to meet people, whether that's teams or your friends that are involved. It's all about the contacts from that side. So the earlier you can start to get to know people in the sport, is better in my opinion, because when you come then further down your career, if you can start that you start to know some people for a long time, then maybe they can introduce you to someone else that can be a sponsor or something like this. But in terms of starting to compete, I think there's a lot of opportunity in grassroots, whether that's esports. You could try doing esports. Maybe you can do some rally sprints. I don't know, in Croatia if you have rally sprints or smaller slalom yes. style.
Yes.
So I think trying to start from this level is important, that you just enjoy the process of maybe finding a car that's not too expensive. Is there some people that can help you get started, and do, even if you only do 2 to 3 rallies or rally sprints a year, and if you're good and you start to show some speed, then after 1 year you can go to the local area of not sponsors but businesses and ask them for some small sponsorship, or can they help you with tires? Maybe another rally driver, can you take his used tires that he's not they're in good condition but he's finished with? I think things like this you have to really just stretch yourself and be a bit comfortable with being uncomfortable is important. You have to take some risks financially yourself, for sure. If you have a job, you have to be putting some money in and try to do everything you can to make the next rally. For me, it was like sometimes it was we just tried to go to the next rally, and okay, then we go to the next one, and try not to think too far ahead.
Yeah, great. I mean, the ambition that somebody needs to have, and persistence to try to catch your dream, to try to find it. It's really difficult, and in this filters the people who have just idea, they want to do it, but they do anything about it, getting out of this comfort zone, and the people who manage to do it, like you, it's huge. Even just to get into that level is achievement by itself, not just the result on the end of the race.
Yeah, it's always been a passion for me to chase my dream of being a rally driver, and I actually really enjoy competing. So it didn't matter what level. Okay, I always aimed to be in the WRC, so that's why I would go and do junior WRC when I was able to try and find some sponsorship and at least do the first 2 to 3 rallies, and we could see how the results are going. But yeah, it's just a big passion, and it's all I ever really wanted to do. So the desire never left my body, where I was like, oh yeah, let's do something else or I will forget about it. I never had this feeling. I always wanted to make like the next approach and come back from being on, if you have a knockback and things aren't going well, I always would then try to plan like, right, how do we make the comeback to come back to rallying again? So it's always been something I wanted to do.
Great. I mean, there is a bright future ahead of you. I hope that you will grab all the opportunities you have. I mean, if there are more opportunities than one, then you have to choose wisely. And I hope that next year you will be in the same category and fighting for the points. And I hope we can do the same interview next year.
Yeah, with no snow.
I mean, we will see. I mean, we can order. We can order some snow maybe, but if you decide without snow, maybe we can arrange something. And we wish you good luck, and we will follow you live on the Sport Club. Vidjet ćemo kako će se Jon nositi sa svojim brzinskim ispitima. Good luck and have fun while you're doing it.
Thank you.
My name's Rory. I am the car engineer for Jon Armstrong in the WRC.
in Rally 1 class.
Rally 1 class,
Yeah,
yes.
great. This is your first year as a Rally 1 engineer?
Yes, I followed John up from the Rally 2 category, so this is my first year with the Rally 1 car.
How does it look? What's the experience working with John?
With John, it's fantastic. He's very easy to get along with. We have a good understanding of each other now after the last year. So knowing what we're thinking is quite easy. But knowing how the car reacts to him is still a bit of a challenge. But we had a very good test here, so we're quite happy with what we've done.
What do you mean specifically in details? It's really hard to get the car react to him.
John drives a very certain way. Every driver drives a certain way. So trying to understand how to get the car to do what he needs is different to what maybe Josh wants or what Gregoire wanted last year. So knowing the direction to go is something we seem to have found here, but leading up to here it was a little bit clouded.
So you're not just thinking about the performance of the car, you're thinking how to extract from the driver as much as possible of the car that you're trying to provide.
Yeah, there's underlying concepts that you're always trying to go towards. You always want to be softer, you always want tighter diffs, whatever. But having the driver be confident and be able to control the car with those options is never achievable. So trying to find a balance of what the performance is versus what the driver can chuck the car down the stage as quick as possible, that's where the nuance comes in.
What kind of level of trust do you have, or you must have, between John and you, John as a driver and you as an engineer?
Yeah, I mean, I've got complete trust in him that he will make sure the car gets back, and I think he's fairly trusting in me that I can make the changes that he's wanting. Yeah, we had a bit of a conversation last year about leaving the changes to me, and that I'll let him drive, and it seems to be working quite well.
Yeah, he was pretty good last year on the European Championship, and he's pretty good on this year in Rally 1 car also. So I think it works well so far.
So far, yeah.
Yeah. Do you maybe think, is there a possibility that when you release the car out of the service and then you think, oh, maybe I should have done this? Do you maybe sometimes make a mistake or a risk that?
There's always risk. Tire choice, for example. Whenever the car leaves the service, you're always sitting there waiting until the car gets to the stage to know that you've made the right decision. And quite often, me and John will be in constant contact between service and the stages to make sure that even on the road section, does the car feel the way it wants to feel, and that sort of thing.
What kind of adjustments can John do between stages, between two services?
There's actually, with the Rally 1 car, quite a lot of changes he can make. The main limitation is the amount of time it takes to make those changes. Yeah. Obviously, the bits to the damper, suspension side, but you can also adjust maybe your preloads on your diffs and bits like that. So you can make quite a decent change to the way the car will react between stages. Okay,
so let's say you think it needs some kind of preload change, plus or minus, whatever. Mm-hmm. And John says, I'm feeling this with the front of the car or oversteering, understeering. And then regarding those words, you're not even seeing the car, you're just thinking in your head.
Yeah.
I think it needs to go more tighter or more looser. So it's like a compromise. It's like you're trying to find something in the fog, in the dark.
Yeah, me and John, we made a bit of a system last year of what the car is doing throughout the corner, breaking the corner into sections and trying to get a better picture through maybe a bit of a code word. So that's how we communicate, and that's how it seems to work quite well. If he can understand specifically what's going on, then I can make quite a well-informed suggestion for what he should do to improve the car for the next stage.
How did you split the corners? In what fragments? Can you name them?
It's just A through D. A being entry or braking, B, corner entry, transition, C, mid-corner, D, corner exit, and then E, the very end of the corner once you've got out and you're back on throttle fully.
And what do you expect? I mean, there is some expectation from the car which is supposed to do through all these points. What is your perfect scenario for car?
How do you mean?
For adjustment of the car, what needs to be what car needs to be doing in your perfect world? What car needs to be? It needs to be like a straight steering wheel, or needs to be a little bit sideways.
Always the goal is minimal input. You want to be able to press the brakes and only press the brakes, then transition onto throttle and only press the throttle. You don't want to be dancing mid-corner because that just starts to upset the balance. The tyre doesn't like it very well, especially with this tyre. You're always wanting to be aiming to be pointing the car towards the exit. So say position C in the corner, you should be on full throttle looking at the exit of the corner, as opposed to still trying to make that corner work. It's almost like a flow. You never really want to be feeling stuck. More of a feeling than anything.
How long do you analyze a stage or a corner or something like this?
It's quite difficult, especially on a rally, to have the time to specifically analyze certain things. We have another engineer with us, Tristan. He looks after the general analysis of the stages. So he'll take the videos and compare between the two cars and maybe between one of the Toyotas or the Hyundais. But it does make up quite a big part of the rally. Is sitting there just watching a screen, trying to figure out how the car is moving. And a lot of that can change depending on how Jon drives the car as well. It might not necessarily be something we can help with the car setup. It might be something he just has to adjust his line or something like that as well.
Do you have some kind of clashes between you and Jon, maybe, or the other driver, when you say the car is fine, you just need to find confidence, just trust the car and go for it?
Yeah, sometimes. I think a lot of it is a mental battle instead of physical. So you're always trying to, I might suggest a small change that in the grand scheme of things doesn't really do too much, but in his head he understands that he's now made a change so the car will be better. So he can then just attack a bit more, and that attack is what's made the difference rather than the actual car. But it's never really been something we struggle too much with. Jon has the experience of quite a lot of rally background to know that when he's needing to improve versus when the car needs to improve.
When it comes to this decision that you make unnoticeable difference in suspension, just to let him loose, just that he feels that you take care of him, but he goes much faster. Do you make these decisions, or somebody else tell you, let's try this?
The majority of the time it's on me, especially last year it was all just me. But between myself and Tristan, as I mentioned, and we have a few other engineers on the events that will quite often have a bit of a discussion on what needs to happen or what the car maybe needs to help with. But yeah, ultimately the decision and the final communication to Jon comes from me, so it's ultimately up to me as to what happens.
Do you see this Puma Rally1 car as something like your own child, or so do you have some kind of emotional connection with the car?
Definitely with the car last year. I'm still working towards that this year. As we get to understand how the car works and everything interacts together, it does become a bit more connected with yourself. But I think the mechanics definitely feel connected to the car because that's their baby. They spend so much time working on it, putting it back together. So I think more so them than me, but we're definitely getting there.
Do you have some kind of issues when a driver makes a mistake or crashes the car and he does something that he's not supposed to do, over driving the car or something like this?
It's generally more down to Rich when that does come up, but in general we expect issues to come up. There's never, you're never going to go to a rally and not have something that you're worried about. But yeah, if it's more the driver overdriving, then that can be something that Rich takes a bit more control of, but not so much myself.
Rich being Richard Milner,
Yes.
the chief team chief.
Team principal, yeah.
Team principal, yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, how did you get into this kind of occupation?
I don't know. I just applied for the job a couple of years ago. I've seemed to have progressed quite quickly up through the ranks. I was originally at uni for mechanical engineering, and then got the job as a junior engineer with the Rally1 program. I spent 2 years on that, and eventually was running Jon. And then, yeah, as Jon got promoted last year, so did I.
What if Jon gets replaced? What happens with you?
I'll probably end up going back down to Rally2 and running more of the customer side.
Yeah, I mean, you have a pretty steep learning curve and advances. Can you give advice to people who wants to do something like you, but they don't know how? I mean, you just applied. I mean, there is also a wish. I want to start something like this. What are the challenges of doing this kind of work?
The difficulty that I've seen is that experience matters more than anything. So for me, before I got into M Sport, I did a lot of, maybe you would class it as volunteer work with other race teams. That willingness to go out there and spend your time and learn the craft is what they're looking for more than the actual ability. The ability needs to be proven. They won't just say, yes, come and work for us, unless you can show that you are capable in some way. So for me, I worked on sidecar motorcycles and spent 2 years doing that, as well as a few other little programs in my own time, with my own money, just to get into the sports in general.
So would you recommend this kind of job to other people?
It's definitely full on. You don't really have a lot of time to do anything other than think about rally cars. But the experience you get, you travel the world, you get to do all these amazing things with amazing people. I don't think there's anything better. So yeah, I can't not recommend it.
Great. Thank you for your time, for doing this interview. I wish you a luck for this season, that you gather as much points as you want and you don't have so much problems. We will watch you live on live TV with Sport Club, so I will comment everything, and I hope I will see you in some of the scenes inside of service.
Maybe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.